Hello everybody, welcome to today's battle report, which is actually a week old. This game I played against Dave 7 days ago. So yeah, as you can see, we've got 4,500 points of Saurian Ancients against 4,500 points of Vermin Swarms. Let's just talk you through the terrain first. Got a forest here, a wall here, ruins here, building. Okay, so into deployment then. Dave's got, if I start on his left, on my left, and work through, we've got a Dreadmill, we've got some Vermin Guard with a Lord level character, I think, or a BSB hero level character, one or the other. We've got some Plague Prophets, we've got a Vermin Lord, we've got some Plague Brotherhood, more Plague Prophets scoring with flails, so they're quite nice. Catapult there, Brotherhood with the war platform there, more Plague Prophets, Rats at Arms, and a Dreadmill here. On my side, we've got a Stygiosaur, Skinks, some Caimans, more Skinks, Tarasaur BSB, we've got some veterans here, bunch of Skinks with a single Caiman in here, more Caimans here, Skinks and Stygiosaur. So basically, Skinks, Caimans and Stygiosaurs. Right, that is deployment. We are on the diagonal, as you can see. I won the roll for first turn. There were no vanguards, so let's get into turn one. Okay, so this is my movement turn one then. Not a lot happening, as you'd expect in turn one, really. Basically, everything in the middle is just kind of advanced up. I've taken the Skinks up to this house because they're infantry and they'll have sufficient movement just to clear it next turn. Don't want the Caimans running through the dangerous terrain twice, so I've just taken them up to the ruins. The main thing, I suppose, really is the Stygiosaurs both moving up in an aggressive way against these Dreadmills. The Dreadmills could do quite a lot of damage to the Stygiosaurs, so I'm wondering if I can maybe do a bit of damage to them before that happens. So what I'm hoping to do here is Breath Weapon on each, Swarm of Insects on each, and Cheeky Javelin Shot on each. Might take one out, might not. But obviously the Dreadmills have got the lightning attacks, so they do Strength D6 times 2. So if it's a 1 or a 2, I'm not particularly bothered. If they roll a 6, then they misfire. So I'm on a kind of a 50-50 from my way of thinking. Double 4 and double 5 would be disastrous because they'd be wounding me on 2s. Double 3, so-so, be wounding me on 3s. So yeah, I'm just thinking, rush at them, see what I can do with that. So anyway, that's the end of my movement turn 1. Okay, so this is the photo from the end of my turn 1 then. You can see neither Dreadmills have been taken out. But this Stygiosaur down here has done a really good job on this one, taking a total of 4 wounds from the Swarm of Insects and the Breath Weapon. So this one is down to 1 wound, so that's something. Only 2 wounds on this Dreadmill over here, so didn't do so well there. And he lost a wound in a miscast. So fortunately that did enable me to get both swarms off, but there you go. Other than that, bit of shooting on this Plague Disciple unit in the middle, and that's the end of my turn 1. Right, let's get into Dave's turn 1. Okay, so this is the end of Dave's turn 1 actually. We forgot to take the movement photograph, so sorry about that. So let's just talk you through what happened then. Bit of a funny one actually. Up here, the Stygiosaur that was against the Dreadmill that had 3 wounds, I expected this one to lose, and it won. And the Dreadmill broke and ran off the board, so that was totally unexpected. And then conversely, this Dreadmill here that only had a single wound left, this one beat this Stygiosaur, which is why we're in the position we're in. So that was a bit odd. The Vermin Guard here chased a unit of Skinks. Skinks only ran a short distance, but the Vermin Guard ran even less. So they failed their charge there, which kind of puts them in a bit of a compromising position against these Caimans. And everything else just kind of moved up in the middle. The Vermin Lord, Vermin Demon, whatever you want to call him, has moved over here quite a bit to kind of threaten this flank. But other than that, nothing particularly significant at this stage. So that's the end of Dave's turn 1. Okay, so on to my turn 2 then. So we've got quite a few charges. Most have gone well. The only one that went really badly with it was this Cayman charge. I needed, I think, a roll of a 3 or a 4, and I got a 2 or a 3, one or the other. So they've kind of ran into the ruins. Fortunately, didn't take any wounds from dangerous terrain, but that has meant that I've had to run this unit of skinks up here so that they don't get charged by this Brotherhood unit with the platform. But all my other charges have got off, so the veterans have got into the Plague Prophets here, the Tarasaur has gone into the Brotherhood here, and the Caymans have gone in on the side here. We did actually rally this unit, but we kind of forgot and then did it after the photograph, so you'll see this unit rally later on. Skinks moving up here to protect the flank of this Cayman unit so that this Brotherhood unit will have to charge them. And the Stygiosaur can just fit through this gap, so trying to threaten the catapult in turn 2. These guys staying right where they are because then I can get some volley fire. So that's the end of my movement 2. Okay, so end of my turn 2 here then. And the Dreadmill it was here took its last wound from a swarm of insects from this Stygiosaur here. Did a wound on the Plague Brotherhood here from some skink shooting. And a wound on the catapult from Stygiosaur javelin shot, so that's nice. The Caymans have smashed through the Vermin Guard on the flank and are now chasing them towards the board edge. So that's going really well. What else have we got here? The Plague Brotherhood have held. They were steadfast against the Tarasaur, but you can see the Tarasaur's done quite a bit of damage to them. So that's what's going on in the middle. And the veterans have smashed through the disciples, caught them, and overran into the unit behind. So going well in turn 2. That's the end of my turn 2. Let's get into Dave's turn 2. So Dave's movement turn 2 here then. His Vermin Lord has charged my Caymans. Now my Caymans want none of it because they're not going to do very well against the Vermin Lord on the flank. So they fled. So he's redirected it to the Skinks who've also fled, which has caused the Vermin Lord to fail his charge here. Brotherhood have charged the Skinks, which they've got to do because they've got to get rid of them, so that's the right choice. The Brotherhood here again charged these Skinks, again got to be done, get rid of them, so that's the right choice. And then other than that, units just kind of moving into position. So that is the end of Dave's movement turn 2. Okay, so this is the end of Dave's turn 2 then. And you can see that the disciples have smashed through the Skinks in both cases. We've actually had a wound taken here from dangerous terrain with the ruins. The veterans, of course, overran into that disciple unit, and they've actually beaten the disciples, although one of them has died in the process. And they've continued to overrun into the catapult. The Tarasaur has done a number on the Brotherhood, and they've broken, but it's not caught them. And the other Skinks have also been taken out. So big open space has been created in the middle of the board. So there you go. That's the end of Dave's turn 2. Okay, so on to my movement turn 3 here then. So just the one charge actually. The Caymans getting into this unit of Plague Brotherhood, charging through the ruins. And that's kind of where we got to, I suppose, really. Have managed to rally with the Caymans here so that if the Vermin Lord decides to come at me, then at least I'll get to attack with all of them rather than 2 of them. Skinks have also rallied, so that's quite good, really. What else have we got going on? The Tarasaur. I don't know why the Tarasaur is there. It's been a week since I played this game. That doesn't really make any sense to me. Perhaps he charged something and it fled. I don't know. Anyway, he's where he is. Skinks have continued to fail their leadership test and have fled directly away from the closest unit, which was this one at the time, so they've gone that way. So that's why they're there. And that is the end of my movement turn 3. Okay, so end of my turn 3 then. So I tried to get Awaken the Beast on the Caymans, which Dave very wisely dispelled. The veterans smashed through the catapult and reformed, so that's why they're there. But FYI, Caymans against Brotherhood with platform, not a good idea. The grinding attacks just tore them to pieces. So yeah, that was unfortunate. Really, they broke and were caught. So yeah, that was rubbish. That's the end of my turn 3. Okay, so Dave's turn 3 then. He's not actually declared any charges in turn 3. He has decided to bring the Vermin Demon around to threaten the Taurosaur, and he's just kind of manoeuvring for position, really, deciding either to go after the Taurosaur or the 2 veterans with this unit here. So yeah, it is as it appears to be. That's the end of Dave's movement turn 3. Okay, so as Dave didn't have any charges, he didn't have any combat, and he didn't have any shooting left, so we went straight into my turn 4. So also no charges from me in turn 4, but plenty of manoeuvring. What I'm kind of looking to do here is make sure nothing that is close enough can see me, and everything that can see me is too far away. Going to do some shooting with my Taurosaur on this Vermin Lord with my poison, and I'm just kind of positioned to threaten units. I can take out these disciples fairly easily. The Vermin Demon really needs to head this way so that these units benefit from his leadership, but I suppose he could go over here, and that's it, really. So that's the end of my movement 4. Okay, so on to Dave's movement turn 4 here then. And you can see that what he's done is bring the Vermin Lord a sufficient distance away from the Taurosaur to make it a really hard charge. And only one of the veterans could charge him, and that's not going to be a good fight for the veteran. So units kind of moving into position here. He's kind of forcing my hand perhaps a little bit, bringing these Plague Disciples here. Do I charge or do I reform with these skinks? So yeah, again, jostling for position. So there will be no shooting because there are no missile troops left and there's no combat, so we'll get straight into my turn 5. Okay, so this is my movement turn 5. I did forget to mention earlier that I got 3 wounds on the Vermin Lord from shooting by the Taurosaur. So he took a bit of poison. Right. So, my turn 5 then. Funny one again, no charges. So just everybody's working for the position here because it matters. So I've brought the Stygiosaur close enough so that if the Vermin Lord comes at the Caymans here, then they can get the predatory roar and get some rerolls. If he smashes through them, which he might, he's going to overrun into the Skinks, which will mean the Taurosaur can then charge him in the rear afterwards. If he doesn't, then the Taurosaur is out of his charge arc at the moment, so the Taurosaur can just shoot at him. Over here, I've reformed this unit, bringing the Cayman onto the second rank, so that if the disciples come at me, then I've got quite a bit of punch, well, a little bit of punch maybe, and I'll definitely be steadfast, so that's good there. That's it. That's the end of my movement turn 5. Okay, so end of my turn 5 here then, and you can see I've managed to drop the Vermin Lord. This was a big moment in the game. 2 wounds from Swarm of Insects. I'm not sure whether Dave let it through or failed to dispel or whatever, I'm not sure. But it was very important that went through. And then that only meant that there was 1 wound left, and the Taurosaur, between its 5 javelin shots and its giant blowpipes, managed to take off that 1 last wound from the Vermin Lord. So that was a significant gain, actually. That's well over 600 points, maybe more, plus 200 for the fact that he's the general. So yeah, that was a big deal. And that was it for my turn 5, but perfectly happy with that for a turn 5. Right, on to Dave's turn 5. Okay, so Dave's turn 5 then, and his Brotherhood here have actually made a long charge. I didn't think he'd make it. but he's charged into one of the veterans here. And his Plague Disciples have charged this skink unit here. The other units, I think, also both declared charges, but both failed them, so that's why they kind of appear to be following up behind. So that is the end of Dave's movement 5. Okay, so that is the end of Dave's turn 5 there that you can see. The Plague Disciples have beaten the Skinks, but the Skinks are steadfast. So they've passed on the Cayman's leadership of cold-blooded 7, so that's good. And Dave has managed to smash through a veteran running into the one behind it. So he's picked up sort of 360, 380-ish points there. Although it will, of course, mean the Tarasaur can have a follow-up charge. So anyway, that is the end of Dave's turn 5. Okay, so my movement turn 6 here then. You can see the Tarasaur has gone into the Brotherhood unit. Did try and charge on the flank with the Caimans, but they didn't make the charge. And that just kind of leaves these Skinks to fight off these disciples here on this side as well. I think these Skinks declared a charge maybe, but failed it. So yeah, that is going to be it for my movements. That's the end of my movement 6. Okay, so end of my movement 6 then. And funnily enough, it doesn't look like it, but the Plague Disciples actually won this combat, scoring more points than the Skinks. But again, the Skinks have held with only the one guy left. But of course, there is a flank charge potentially coming here in turn 6. The Tarasaur and the one remaining veteran managed to finish off the Brotherhood unit and chase it down. So that is the end of my turn 6. Okay, so Dave's turn 6 here then, and you can see he's got a flank charge on the Skink unit here with his Rat-at-Arms, and he's got a unit here of Disciples who have made it into a charge on my veteran here, who is also my general. So that's the end of Dave's movement turn 6. And here's a photo from the end of the game. You can see that the Brotherhood actually were finished by the Cayman, but the Skinks all died, the Cayman broke and was caught. So he picked up a few points there before dying, so that was good. Over in this corner here, the Disciples didn't do any damage to the veteran, but he didn't do a lot back to them, and I don't actually remember who won, to tell you the truth. Oh, it was a draw. Just looking at my notes here, it was a draw. So that was the end of that, and that was the end of the game. So I scored 4,389. Dave scored 1,940, making it a 15-5. The secondary objective was breakthrough, so I actually got 2 scoring units into Dave's deployment zone. So it finished an overall 18-2. It was a good game for Dave. Don't take anything away from him. He's only been playing for a few months, and I've been playing for years. So I don't think that he played badly overall. I think he made a couple of mistakes. He shouldn't have let Swarm of Insects through perhaps a couple of times. But I thought his play for movement was actually kind of quite clever overall. So yeah, a good game really, an enjoyable game. So that was the end of it. The score line I don't think was a fair reflection of the game. I think 15-5 would be a more just result than an 18-2. But there you go. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this one. There will be another one, probably not tonight, but soon. Right, gotta go, guys. See you next time. Bye bye.